Next up on the Cosmic News Network, First Contact with Joshua Pope.
Good morning, Earthlings. Good. How you doing today? Good. How you doing today? Welcome to First Contact Radio. Welcome to First Contact Radio. To talk about all these things we're talking about is because in life, everything is energy. Every single thing that's out there.
Yo, it's First Contact with Joshua Pope. He's the man on the mic, just in case you didn't know it. Covering news from all around the globe, from the weather and space to UFOs. We'll talk politics and make you open your eyes. Conspiracy theories and government lies. We'll dig it all up and try to find the proof. Cause the times is the man of truth. It's time.
First Contact Radio. We have arrived.
The man of truth. It's time.
First Contact Radio. We have arrived.
The man of truth. It's time.
First Contact Radio.
It's time to the man
First
of
Contact
truth.
Radio. We have arrived.
Good morning, Earthlings. Welcome back to First Contact Radio. How you doing today? Today's Thursday. It is the 10th of September, making our way to the end of, making our way along. Virgo, Leo. These are our two signs for today. Virgo is an earth sign, the hermit, teaching us the lessons of patience. Subconscious mind, Leo, fire sign, teaching us about creativity, our own creativity, and how we need to harness it to allow it to come out. Because we all have this energy inside of us. Just depends how we're going to channel it out. Now, one thing when you have this type of energy, the fiery energy, dealing with Mars and this type of energy that's coming out of us, it can get blocked. It can get blocked, and when it gets blocked, instead of becoming creative, it can become angry. So whenever we see Leo, Mars, signs that are of energy, high energy, we always want to make sure we channel that properly so it doesn't turn into something of an angry nature. We're coming upon a time when we need to think clearly. With 9/11, the anniversary upon us, people are going to be angry because there's all different ways of looking at the situation out there. We have the end of this cycle and the new year, Rosh Hashanah, coming up. So we're clearing away old stuff to begin new. So we want to keep that in mind to not let the anger get the best of us as we're leading into those days. Some of the aspects we're looking at today, shortly after noon, Uranus brings an unexpected change into the mix. And then 2:59 p.m., Leo and Mars are going to be conjunct right next to each other. Okay, so where we're seeing that is right here. Okay, so Mars, remember I just mentioned Mars? I said Mars is a planet that if the energy's not channeled, can be chaotic, angry. Well, that's exactly what's coming into the mix later, so we need to be aware. Okay, an event like what happened on 9/11 brings up a lot of feelings and emotions. We just need to make sure we're channeling them properly. I'm going to address some of that today. Tomorrow we're going to do a lot of 9/11 as well, but definitely going to do it today. All right, let's get back over here. The Jewish calendar. Now, the Jewish calendar is important. Okay, the Jewish calendar, the Hebrew calendar, is very, very important. Actually, it's way more important than the Gregorian calendar. Why? Because the Jewish calendar is a calendar that is synced up with the Bible. Some people say that the Bible is the record of the Jewish holidays or holidays. I want to flip it around, that the Bible and the Jewish calendar are actually the markings of God's holy days. Okay, so it's important that we understand the particular timings. This is the calendar that is used. So when we look at the events of the Bible and we follow along a timeline, we're not looking at the Gregorian calendar, we're looking at the Jewish calendar. That's why the year hasn't changed. It's a continual progression. Okay? There's other reasons as well why there's differences, but that's the main things to take a look at for the moment. So today's 26th Elul, the last month. We have today, tomorrow, Saturday, and Sunday. Sunday night, the 13th, is the eve of Rosh Hashanah. The daily thought for today is Happy Birthday, Universe. Every year our sages taught with the cry of the shofar, the entire universe is reborn. And so at that time, with our resolutions and our prayers, we hold an awesome power to determine what sort of child this newborn year shall be, how it will take its first breath, how it will struggle to its feet, and how it will carry us through life for the 12 months to come. In truth, it is not only once a year. At every new moon, in a smaller way, all life is renewed again. And so, too, every morning we are reborn from a nighttime taste of death. And at every moment, in the smallest increment of time, every particle of the universe is projected into being out of absolute nothingness, as if it was the very beginning, which is why there is always hope, because every moment life is born anew, and we are the masters of how this moment will be born. Mayan Oracle 4-tone date, self-existing tone. The sun is the kin, so it's the self-existing sun guided by the warrior. Since the sun is the 20th symbol, I know that we are at the bottom of a column. And we're going to start tomorrow up at the top of the next column. Like-minded energy is the storm, which is gathering all of this energy to be used for something. Love, loyalty is our challenge for today. The hidden power is our power to nurture ourselves. The phrase for today is I define in order to enlighten measuring life. I seal the matrix of universal fire with the self-existing tone of form. I am guided by the power of intelligence. 6% of the way to go till we get to the new moon, so we shall be there this weekend. Solar wind, 432.6 kilometers per second. Planetary K-index, currently quiet. However, in the next 24 hours, probably going to get up into a storm. M-class flare possibility is at 5% over the next 24 to 48 hours. X-class 1. Geomagnetic storm activity seems to be subsiding a bit, dropping down from 35 to 30, 70 to 50 in the high latitudes. And looking at the sky tonight, just see this from here to here? What do you see? Pretty much a straight line, right? Just pointing that out. Okay, here we are, Thursday, September 10th. Got light pollution. Cygnus overhead offers many sights for small telescopes regardless. So we're looking at the sky tonight, at the moon, at Venus, off to it here. So this is what we're going to be looking in the sky, okay? Venus, Regulus, Mars. Looking for Leo off to the left here. And that is our cosmic weather for today. I'll be right back. This is Great Spirit.
Come into our circle, Great Spirit. Fill our souls with peace.
This is the UFO News with Joshua Poet.
All right. Thought I was switching things up, didn't you? Just wondering what the heck? How come we're not going to UFO News? I was thinking the same thing. All right. Here we have a close-up photo of the white spots on Sirius. Okay, this interesting NASA just released a close-up photo of the white glowing spots on Sirius. It took several months, but finally they have a close-up. These months kept UFO researchers in suspense. Here we can make out a coral-like structure that was built up in the center of the crater. I say structure because many alien structures resemble this fungus appearance. It may be because the structures are part biological and part mechanical. Because NASA waited 2 months to release the photo, I'm very worried about how much they've altered with Photoshop and how much is original. They certainly had the time. I am surprised that they released this image. NASA is changing for the better. Yeah, right. They released this image because there was pressure to do so. All right, Nick Jonas says he had a sighting of 3 flying saucers when he was 14 years old. I think it's a great deal when a person comes forward and tells others about their UFO experiences. It takes a lot of courage to push forward and risk the ridicule and laughter from the people around them. Here, Jonas clearly doesn't care what others think, but instead says it like it is. He saw 3 flying saucers in the sky. That is cool. And to top it off, he went online to confirm those UFOs were seen in 3 other states that day. The internet is going to force disclosure very soon. The news states when Demi Lovato visited Seth Meyers, she told the late night host about her belief in extraterrestrials, but far from disabusing her of that notion, her pal Nick Jonas tells Seth he had a close encounter of his own, once spotting 3 UFOs at once. Check out the extraterrestrial interview above. All right. Onward. Australia. UFO speeds up when seen over Australia. Okay, Sunshine Coast man has been left scratching his head after he was spotted what he believes could be a UFO. Joshua Ross noticed a yellow glow in the sky and recorded it on his mobile phone. It was just going side to side, up and down, round and round. It would go up one direction and then shoot back the other and just disappeared under a tree. He said it was most like a meteor the size of a fist. The hovering effect was due to the cloud cover. This isn't the first time something in the sky had people guessing. All right, so there you go. People are saying it's a meteor. Who knows? An explosion is reported over Iran is a UFO. Unidentified flying object, otherwise known as UFOs, have been sighted throughout history, with one prominent example of strange-shaped objects and luminous lights terrifying people on several occasions. While science was able to explain the streaking comets hovering the night sky, there are still incidents that are still for explanation. There's been a bizarre allegation from the chains of strange theories. Among the many theories, one of the most popular in the world is the late September. According to some beliefs, this is either the result of the fierce earthquakes done by the blood moon in September, or a consequence of a large asteroid that would strike any time. Despite the publicity of NASA denying the huge asteroid that could hit the Earth, conspiracy theorists remain undeterred. However, the most bizarre belief is when alien invasion signals the start of the apocalypse that would possibly happen later this month. The premise is being sparked by meteors burning over the skies of Iran, along with space rocks landing. Recently, it has been announced that the incident is a result of a joint operation between Russia and Iran to destroy an alien vessel. According to the Daily Sheeple, NASA debunks claims that the huge asteroid would destroy the Earth on September, but difficult to make people believe for some reason. Another website, the meteorite was thought to be the subject of Russian action. Another site said that the identification of the alien spacecraft is a newly created aerospace defense force after attempting to destroy another craft planning to enter Earth over Texas. Among the many theories and speculations most people still believe are convinced in the meteorite. What are these unidentified sightings? There may be no concrete answer to that traditional question, but it will not stop humans from wondering, is there anyone else out there? Okay. Next, triangle over Russia. Just have a video from this is all we have. Video's 10 minutes. And here's our object in question. All right, I'm just going to leave the link available so you can watch through it as you please. One more UFO filmed over iconic Caernarfon Castle. UFO has been spotted hovering above one of Wales' most famous landmarks. The sighting was captured on camera in broad daylight by Owen Powell and uploaded to the UFO Alien Sightings channel on YouTube earlier this month. The 40-second clip shows what appears to have been filmed from the maze in Caernarfon. Shows a small dark object floating above the town's iconic castle. As the camera zooms in, the object begins to descend slowly before disappearing out of view behind the castle walls. Okay. Very good shot. Very interesting. And that is our UFO news for today. Now we will jump to a song, Great Spirit.
Great Spirit, send down your love, send down your love, send down your love to us from above. Great Spirit, send down your love, send down your love, send down your love to us from above. Oh, 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 oh. Great Spirit, shine down your light, shine down your light, shine down your light to light our way. Great Spirit, shine down your light, shine down your light, shine down your light to light our way. Oh, 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 oh.
All right, let's continue on. Next article is kind of interesting here. It's about the discovery of a new human species, what is called relative. Now, I don't know about you, but when I heard the word relative, it makes me think of someone that is related to us. So according to this article, this new species is a new human species that is a relative of ours. That means he's related to us. Okay? That means it is a distant ancestor we are related to. You know what that means? It means somewhere this relative is going to have similar, or people living this day are going to have similar appearances in some ways to our relatives. Imagine that, huh? Imagine that. Children look sort of like their parents, their relatives. So, before anybody cries any strange language of whatever, this is a relative of us here. Scientists discover new species, Homo naledi. Scientists say they discovered a new member of the human family tree, revealed by a huge trove of bones in a barely accessible pitch-dark chamber of a cave in South Africa. The creature shows a surprising mix of human-like and more primitive characteristics. Some experts called it bizarre and weird, and the discovery presents some key mysteries. How old are the bones? How did they get into that chamber? Reachable only by a complicated pathway that includes squeezing through passages as narrow as about 7.5 inches. The site, about 30 miles northwest of Johannesburg, has yielded some 1,550 specimens since the discovery in 2013. The fossils represent at least 15 individuals. Researchers named the creature Homo naledi, that reflects the Homo evolutionary group, which includes modern people and our closest extinct relatives. And the word for star in a local language. The find was made in the Rising Star Cave system. The creature, which evidently walked upright, represents a mix of traits. For example, the hands and the feet look like Homo, but the shoulders and the small brain recall Homo's more ape-like ancestors, the researchers said. Lee Berger, a professor at the University of Witwatersrand in Johannesburg, who led the work, said Homo naledi's autonomy suggested that it arose at or near the root of the Homo group, which would make the species some 2.5 to 2.8 million years old. The discovered bones themselves may be younger, he said. The researchers announced the discovery Thursday in the journal eLife at a news conference in the Cradle of Humankind at a site near Melanesburg. They said they were unable to determine the age of the fossils because of unusual characteristics. Okay, so very interesting. So here we go. New relative. A new relative in our family, but we probably already know this because we do see all the time human beings that look like a variety of animals. You see them, I see them, we all see them. It's not something that's limited to any particular race. All of us. All of us. All inclusive. Now, just for those of you who, and I know if you're listening to the show and you're a regular, you're not in this group, but just for those of you who are out of there, the PC police, who don't quite understand in this particular article here, sorry, I have to explain this for those who are not fully up into the understanding. In this word right here, this word homo has nothing to do with gayness, okay? It is a scientific term that has to do with the sameness of a species, okay? So before anybody goes on and thinks that this word here, just in case your intelligence hasn't quite caught up with the rest of us, I just thought I'd throw that out there because there's always some brain-dead idiot who says, you said homo, oh my gosh. Yeah, talking about a scientific species labeling, okay? Hate to have to bring it up like that and, reiterate that, but we both know that there are people in society who, well, they just simply forgot about thinking in this lifetime, and they say all kind of stupid stuff that, I might be one of them. So I include myself in that mix. All right, so we're moving on from our relative, and we're going to go over and we're going to change gears here. We're going to begin to speak about 9/11. Tomorrow I'm going to do a lot of stuff about 9/11 since tomorrow is 9/11. But today, being the day before, I'm going to lead in because I want y'all to think about some things. You see, September 11th, 2001 was a day in which Americans were fooled. Americans were fooled because there was an attack that took place on American soil, and we were led to believe that this was done by 11 men with box cutters. And these 11 men with box cutters were able to defeat the United States military-industrial complex over and over and over again. But we're told that we're the greatest military on the planet, but 11 men with box cutters were able to infiltrate our system, overcome our defenses, outwit the military, and destroy all their targets that they wanted to destroy. Do you believe that story? I don't believe that, not for an instant. Why? Because I've met many men and women in the military. They are men and women who are on the ball, wanting to do their job correctly, wanting to look out for America. And I don't believe for an instant that they would let their guard down and that they themselves would be defeated by 11 men with box cutters the way the media has tried to tell you. Now, what they're not coming back and reiterating is some of these men that the media have reported dead aren't really dead, but they're still alive over there in their countries. So Americans have been lied to. I'm going to bring the article up tomorrow just to show you, but there's an article I have read several times, which is 33 times that a conspiracy theory has been proven to be true. 33 times, okay? That's past fool me once, fool me twice, fool me 3 times. 33 times Americans have been fooled because 33 times when an incident happened and the conspiracy theorists came out and said, hey, this is a false flag, the majority of Americans and the media jumped up and said, no, this isn't a false flag. This is exactly what we're telling you it is. And now, throughout history, we've been able to go back and see that we've been lied to 33 times, that if we would have listened to the original estimation by those who said what went on, we'd be better off than we are today. But we didn't, and we don't. So we continue to get fooled. We get fooled from one event to the next. Saw a reporter that was supposedly shot, but the man who shot her was a black man, but when he held the gun up to in front of the camera, as you saw, he was wearing a blue shirt and he had a white hand. But when we saw him, he was a black man wearing a black shirt. But we're supposed to believe that this was real. At Sandy Hook, even though the FBI says that there weren't any violent murders that took place in that part in Newtown, Connecticut, we're told by the media that all these children were killed, yet there were no bodies that were seen. And yet we continue to find evidence of the lie that they are doing. One of the most recent ones I've seen is that someone discovered that there were 26 Christmas trees outside the fire station ready to go. All ready to go, so that when they brought them out to give honor to them, they had them all ready to go. So somehow in advance, somebody knew exactly how many Christmas trees they were going to need to represent all of the dead children. In advance, somebody knew that. When you know something in advance, you know what that's called? Pre-planning. Okay? Pre-planning means somebody thought it out. And it's happening over and over and over again. And as long as Americans continue to be fooled, 33 times now, as long as Americans continue to be fooled, there are those who are going to continue to try to fool Americans. And as Americans continue to get dumber, which the younger generations are getting dumber and dumber and dumber, and if you're one of the younger generations, sorry to tell you this, but you're not being taught the way that the older generations were. You have been dumbed down, and if you are a young person, do yourself a favor and find some course of study that you can do outside of what school teaches you, because school's not going to tell you the truth. They're part of the problem, because we have too many cowards in the system that will go along and teach all the BS just because they need a paycheck. See, we are our own worst problems, my friends, because we don't stand up for the right things. We're all so busy fighting over money that we got to get ours, that we're willing to screw over the next individual in order to get it. And then when we find out something happens serious, instead of looking into it, we deny it. But that's all psychology, and I'm going to show you this right now. This is a piece here. It's called The Psychology Experts Speak Out, Why 9/11 Evidence is Difficult for Some to Accept. And accompanying this is a video. I'm not going to play the video. It's 11 minutes, 54 seconds in length. I'm going to leave that to you to watch. But I'm going to go through this a bit. It's often difficult for people who are aware of the evidence for the controlled demolition of the WTC skyscrapers to understand why so many Americans are unwilling to rationally discuss the vital information. For over 10 years now, 9/11 Truth advocates have been trying to get relatives, friends, and strangers to listen to the undeniable facts that point for the need for a real 9/11 investigation. We offer and counter emotional resistance, which poses the question, why is the evidence so difficult for many people to accept? In the new documentary, 9/11 Explosive Evidence, Experts Speak Out, AE 9/11 Truth petition signers with a psychological expertise step forward with the answers. Licensed clinical psychologist Robert Hooper, PhD, explains 9/11 Truth challenges some of our most fundamental beliefs about our government, about our country. When beliefs are challenged, or when two beliefs are inconsistent, cognitive dissonance is created. 9/11 Truth challenges our beliefs that our country protects us and keeps us safe, and that America is the good guy. When this happens, fear and anxiety are created. In response, our psychological defenses kick in to protect us from their emotions. Denial, which is probably the most primitive psychological defense, is one of the most likely to kick in when our beliefs are challenged. As underscored in the film, sometimes the expression of denial includes raw incredulity, as when people make the statement, "I refuse to believe," or "I don't want to know the truth." Others respond, "I'm not sure. I want to know if this is true." Down would be up, up would be down, and my life would never be the same, or "I refuse to believe." Now, let's take a look at that. We've talked about the Kybalion, which one of the statements of the Kybalion, the all is mind. What is part of the mind system? Systems of belief. The mind, in these cases, we are seeing actual cases where people saying, "I refuse to believe." Doesn't matter what you show them. They're refusing. They've already set their mind in there. Why? Because people don't know what to do. So when they hear this information, they don't know what to do with it, so it's easy to deny it. Way a lot easier to deny it than it is to take responsibility. Because to take responsibility, well, it means you have to kind of interrupt your life. And too many people are too busy with their own lives to want to take time out to interrupt their life in order to make life better for everybody. That's part of the problem. Us. We have to be willing to do a little bit more. People are afraid of being ostracized. They're afraid of being alienated. They're afraid of being shunned. They're afraid of feeling helpless and vulnerable, afraid that they won't be able to handle the feelings that are coming up Whenever I say I refuse to believe, we can be sure that the evidence that's coming our way is not bearable and that is conflicting with our worldview, says Fran Schur, a 20-year licensed professional counselor and psychotherapist, as she thought about the most common closed responses to an invitation to engage with the 9/11 evidence. She realized that what is common to every one of them is the emotion of fear. People are afraid of being ostracized. They're afraid of being alienated. They're afraid of being shunned. They're afraid of feeling helpless and vulnerable and all that other stuff. Okay? See what's going on here? It's all because a person's afraid they're going to be made fun of. Sticks and stones may break my bones. I'm afraid if I tell the truth of what's going on, or if I listen to it, somebody else might disagree with it. Well, too frickin' bad. Isn't it time we stand up, my friends, and stand up for the truth? You know why people get picked on? Because they don't stand up when they're getting picked on. You know why, if you're getting picked on out there, is because you haven't stood up. You haven't stood up to those who are picking on you. And I guarantee you, the moment you do, they'll stop picking on you. And that's what's going on in the world. We have people spouting off nonsense. The nonsense I hear coming from these political parties is just absolutely ridiculous. And the fact that people believe all the nonsense is even more ridiculous. In a way, it's kind of disappointing to see how the majority of society behaves, because it's as if common sense has completely gone out the window. And instead, we're listening to the jackasses in Washington who got their heads so far up their asses that they couldn't tell the difference between one thing or another in order to help us, because they're not here to help us. All the nonsense that's going on here in America and watching America be destroyed, and all the stuff about Obama, people have known for years. It's just shameful that you got parties and groups that will protect a politician and his lies. And karma's going to come around, and those people are going to get bitch slapped really good by the universe. And when that day comes, I and many others will be glad to see it, because it's horrendous to watch bad behavior out there. Horrendous. And people know better. And people that are behaving badly, shame on you. You need to straighten up, come correct, or get off the fucking planet. Yes, I just said that. It's just ridiculous, folks. It's just ridiculous. Okay, so you get the idea, right? I'm going to go over a little bit more here. To begin to accept the possibility that other groups were involved in 9/11 is like opening Pandora's box, states Robert Hopper. If you open the lid and peek inside a little bit, it's going to challenge some of your fundamental beliefs about the world. Most people do not welcome such dramatic challenges to their worldview. If we can think of our worldview as being sort of our mental and emotional home, I think all of us will do just about anything to defend our homes and to defend our families, says Dorothy Long, a counselor with a 16-year practice in reevaluation and counseling. Long saw that within herself when her brother initially tried to talk to her about 9/11 truth. Her response was, "Don't mess with me. Don't mess with my home. Don't mess with my comfort level." About a week later, she read the well-researched article by Dr. David Ray Griffin on the evidence indicating why the official account of 9/11 cannot be true. Her response was, "I was at my office at the time. I sat there. I felt my stomach churning. I thought maybe I was going to be sick. I leaped out of my chair, ran out the door, and took a long walk around the block with several blocks, and just broke down. I understand now what was happening. My worldview about my government being in some way my protector, almost like a parent, had been dashed, and it was like being cast out into the wilderness. I think this is the closest way to describe the feeling. I sobbed, and I knew at some point during the walk that I was going to have to become active in educating other people about this. For me to retain any sense of integrity, I was going to have to take some action. I couldn't just let something like this go." Okay, very important. This person's taking responsibility because she saw the evidence. When people look at the evidence, they see with their own eyes that what happened on 9/11 was a self-inflicted wound. They had prior knowledge of it. The evidence is out there, and it's just sad that in this day and age, 2015, there are people who still don't know what happened, or will still argue the government's point. That is so sad. And I feel so bad for those people that they're stuck in that place of fear that they can't look past what really went on. Because how their lives must be, if you're stuck in fear to that degree, then your life must be pretty challenging, because the fear must be pretty intense if you have that much, you're afraid to look. But I'm going to show you something that will help you to understand a little bit more. Have you heard of Elizabeth Kubler-Ross? Elizabeth Kubler-Ross came up with what are called the 5 stages of grief. Elizabeth Kubler-Ross, which is the correct spelling. Elizabeth Kubler-Ross is a comment. Okay. Elizabeth Kubler-Ross pioneered methods in the support and counseling of personal trauma, grief, and grieving associated with death and dying. She also dramatically improved the understanding and practice and the relation to bereavement and hospice care. This is quite aside from the validity of her theoretical work itself, on which point she seized the note. Her ideas, notably 5 stages of grief, are transferable to varying degrees and in different ways to personal change and emotional upset resulting from factors. Okay, so here are her 5 stages, and these go through all different things. So in 9/11, we could look at it. First stage, denial. To deny because it's too big for us to understand. Denial is a conscious or unconscious refusal to accept facts, information, reality relating to a situation concerned. It's a defense mechanism and perfectly natural. Some people can become locked in this stage when dealing with traumatic change that can be ignored. Death, of course, is not particularly easy to avoid or evade indefinitely. Next phase after denial becomes anger. Anger can be manifest in different ways. People dealing with emotional upset can be angry with themselves or others, especially those close to them. Knowing this helps keep detached and non-judgmental when experiencing the anger of someone who is very upset. Third stage is bargaining. Traditionally, the bargain stage for people facing death can involve attempting to bargain with whatever God the person believes in. People facing less serious trauma can bargain or seek to negotiate a compromise. For example, can we still be friends? When facing a breakup, bargaining rarely provides a sustainable solution, especially if it's a matter of life or death. Depression, also referred to as preparatory grieving. In a way, it's the dress rehearsal or practice run for the aftermath, although the stage means different things depending on whom it involves. It is a sort of acceptance with emotional attachment. It's natural to feel sadness and regret, fear, uncertainty, etc. It shows us that the person has at least begun to accept the reality. And finally, the last stage is acceptance. Again, the stage definitely varies according to the person's situation, although broadly is an indication that there can be some emotional detachment and objectivity. People dying can either enter the stage a long time before the individual they leave behind, who must necessarily pass through their own individual stages of dealing with grief. Okay, so there's the 5 stages. This applies to everything. So when 9/11 came or any of the other incidents, what's the first thing? Denial. People deny that it happened. It couldn't happen to us. Why? Because of pride. Because we're America. We're the greatest country on earth. Nobody could slip something by us like that. Our military is the best. Nobody could fool us. Guess what? We got fooled and we got infiltrated, and it doesn't matter that we have the best military, and it doesn't matter that we're, what people think is the best country on the planet. We got fooled and we got attacked, and guess what? Some of it happened by the people inside here. So we're not so as smart as we think we are. As a matter of fact, we're pretty uninformed as a whole, because there's only a small percentage which is willing to look at the truth, and the great majority of people would just rather stick their head in a hole in the ground, pretend it doesn't happen because it's too difficult. Denial. The anger phase. There's a lot of angry people out there. There's a lot of people bargaining. A lot of people who have gone through depression, but finally the acceptance phase. And the acceptance phase comes when you fully get past your own self. When you get out of your own way and you say, you know what? Despite what my personal ego thinks about this situation, the evidence shows me that this is the reality. And that despite the propaganda that is being told otherwise, that I have a brain and I have the ability to think, and I can put 2 and 2 together and look at the situation and know that what is occurring is different than what I'm being told. And when you add into that the propaganda that has been made legal upon the American people, got to really pay attention these days, folks. The lies are made legal, and it's up to us. It's up to us to fix this. Up to us. Now, there are many people that are down here on Earth that are here to help. There are various names. One of the names is Starseed. This an article says, are you a Starseed? 21 signs to look for, by Tanez. Do you sometimes feel like you came from another planet? It may seem like a far-off concept, but starseeds are actually souls that have originated from different stars, planets, solar systems, or galaxies. Starseeds are highly evolved souls that were sent to Earth to bring about new knowledge and wisdom in order to help raise the consciousness of the planet. Because they come from a different star, starseeds carry a very different aura or vibration that allows them to access certain information that is not from this world. This information usually holds clues on ways to advance the planet and create new technology. At their core, starseeds know that the Earth is not their true home, and sometimes this can create feelings of being out of place or alone. Starseeds also report having recurring dreams of alien abductions, encounters with aliens, or that they were dropped off on Earth in some sort of spaceship. Many of the political and social rules of society may also feel unnecessary or irrational to starseeds, as they often will forge their own path and find a new way of doing something. Starseeds are also extremely intuitive, psychic, and empathic. They are very sensitive to the world around them. They may also have an interest in time travel, space, and alien life. Appearance-wise, starseeds often have large eyes, long necks, angelic faces. If you feel you could be a starseed, here are the top signs to look for. 1. You feel a strong sense of knowing that Earth is not your original home. 2. You feel out of place and that the rules of society go against your beliefs. 3. You have reoccurring dreams about aliens or spaceships. 4. You are highly psychic or intuitive and sensitive to your surroundings. 5. You often see UFOs or have a strong affinity to space, time travel, and the spirit world. 6. You are naturally technologically savvy and have a different way of problem solving. 7. You're empathic to others' emotions and can pick up on what others are feeling. 8. You may have a body that functions differently compared to others. 9. You are extremely intelligent but are not interested in conventional academics. 10. You constantly feel challenged to awaken or reconnect with your purpose. 11. You may struggle to find your purpose and integrate into society. 12. People around you may also feel that you are different or are wary of you. 13. Animals and children may instinctively trust you or feel intrigued by you. 14. You can only handle large crowds of people for short periods of time. 16. You may suffer from social anxiety and have a hard time making small talk. 16. You have a memory of your purpose and a mission here on Earth, or to catch a glimpse of it every now and then. 17. You have a memory of being from another planet or galaxy and what it looked like. 18. You're an old soul, and even as a child, you are mature for your age. 19. Life on Earth at times feels boring or disappointing to you, especially when you are reminded of where you came from. 20. You seem to find solutions to problems much quicker than others around you. Earthly complaints seem simple to you. And 21. You are naturally talented in the area of technology, physics, engineering, space travel, and metaphysics. It is believed that starseeds have a programmed alarm clock inside of them that allows them to awaken at different points in their lives in order to fulfill their destiny. As a starseed, it may feel as if you are constantly awakening and forever growing. However, once you truly step into the work, things tend to manifest rapidly. All right, so are you a starseed? I'm sure if you are, the question has come up before. This isn't the first time. All right, so let's listen to this message today. This one is from Archangel Michael.
Archangel Michael, the freeing of Earth and separation of realities.
September 7th, 2015, by Christine Preston.
Archangel Michael.
The original creation of physicality in the seventh dimension was a manifestation of the divine will, and in a sense there was nothing experimental about the manifestation of the third dimensional reality. It was accidental, and it came into being. because the material universe was compromised by an infiltration of dark beings. What was experimental was free will, and without a certain sabotage on the part of the dark forces, the experience of physicality would have remained Edenic. It was the divine will that the I Am presences would accumulate data to create something comparable to a library. Light is perfect and doesn't need to absorb anything from the dark. Yet the I Am presences are drawing something from the accumulation of experiences, resulting from their projection of a divine spark into incarnation. A distinction needs to be made. The divine will intended to make available in the realm of physicality what could be compared to, as a giant library of data. Life is not for an end result in which the light of the Creator upon the highest dimension is transformed. The data is available through the family lineage, or DNA, of mankind and other beings. The original objective was to permit physicality in a material world, but this was to be in a higher dimensional environment, on about the 7th dimension. Something went wrong. The material universe was compromised by an infiltration of dark beings. The forces of the light and the dark have been arrayed against each other. But we have reached the time when those of the dark are succumbing to the light. The sinister force that has influenced the Cabal used to operate from the astral plane, a region that has now been largely freed and cleared from dark entities. So this has had a liberating effect upon the subconscious mind of mankind. Those of the 15 primeval powerful beings who were dark and have ruled life on Earth for millions of years, and even used to overshadow the Archons, have gradually been replaced by walk-ins recently. The bodies that each of these dark powerful beings possessed have been taken over by more advanced beings of light. Each one of those had dominion over many. They engineered a race of mechanization man who didn't possess the link in the heart to the I Am presence. They attempted and intended to harness the divine power of the spark within the light bearers. They searched for a long time for a way to access it from mankind's DNA. But they could only go so far. Whatever way or method they sought was unsuccessful. The link to this power that connects mankind with the divine is in the threefold flame of the heart. These highly advanced beings of light, I mean those who have walked in the dark ones, want to restore the world upon a path of manifestation of the divine will. We are slowly lifting the world back up to the dimension or reality that it was intended to be upon. In a sense, it is the recovery of the Eden, or paradise of the scriptures. You are being accelerated in consciousness, and transformed as in a slow transfiguration because of the changes taking place, as you are being irradiated with light, photonic light as well as a tsunami of love. Your DNA and chakras are being upgraded. The lower layers of physicality, which are called third dimension, are being removed. You are half etheric. But as everything else in your reality is being lifted as well, your relationship to the outside world doesn't appear to have changed to you. You may, however, have noticed you have a feeling of lightness about you, and you are going to become able to manifest circumstances in your life and your reality that will seem to you as magical or miraculous. You will experience healing and solutions to problems. Conditions will suddenly disappear. You have already experienced a certain control of the elements, such as the opening of the clouds so that a clear sky between you and the sun is manifested. The eradication of karmic conditions can be slow, but the violet flame does work on these, and every single call for intercession is used to permit an intervention. The light workers now have 80 to 90% of their bodies converted to crystalline. So the job is not completed yet. The other part of the population has had the conversion carried out to about 50%, and the ones whom I called the recalcitrants through Linda Dillon have a lower conversion. I have told you to expect some events to occur in September 2015. There is a group of conditions coming together that will produce these events. They are due to the position of the Earth in space and the astrological influences, as well as eclipses, equinoxes, and meteorite showers that will bring particular energies. Some disclosure is expected, and there will be a continuous stream of discussions on TV channels and in the media for many months. This will reach a peak in March 2016. One of the causes of this disclosure will be the Pope's visit to the USA and his speeches, including to the House of Congress. The focus will still be political and financial, the cause of wars, policies whether right or wrong, their effects upon Europe, the humanitarian objectives in relation to the refugees from North Africa and other countries afflicted by wars, such as Syria, Lebanon, and now Yemen. I shall return to give you some explanations, as regard to the separation of realities. I am Archangel Michael, the woman clothed with the sun and her man-child. This represents the collective soul of mankind in the garment of ascension, and the child that is being born is its expression in physicality, its manifestation on earth, or Gaia, as it is in heaven. I am Archangel Michael. I am with you all, protecting you always.
Christine.
All right. Very good. Good message. So obviously you could hear from that message that it certainly included present events that are going on. It mentioned September yet again. So we're 10 days into the month, 20 days to go, and all of these events are before us. Yom Kippur, Rosh Hashanah, Yom Kippur, Sukkot. We have the meeting with the Pope. We have the meeting with Congress. We have the UN and the peace. There's a lot of things going on. Then, of course, we have the asteroids at the end of the month. And one thing to be aware of, remember how at the beginning of the week, last week, I played the thing about the Shemitah, and at the end of this Shemitah cycle, which is the 7-week cycle, the end of the 7, that there's something that happens, a pattern that they've discovered on Wall Street, where there's been a crash, and the last several times there's been one of these ending of these 7-year Shemitah cycles, there's been a crash. If that's the case, if that is a pattern, then we will see a crash on Monday. If it doesn't happen on Monday, then there's not a pattern there. But that's what we're looking for, to see if there's a pattern. So we'll see on Monday what's going to happen, because according to the cycle that has been, that would be the day when we would see something. Okay, just thought I'd throw that out there. And we're going to move on to the Warrior of the Light today, page 104. The Warrior of the Light studies the 2 columns on either side of the door he is trying to open. One is called Fear, the other Desire. The warrior looks at the column of Fear, and on it is written, "You are entering a dangerous, unfamiliar world where everything you have learned up till now will prove useless." The warrior looks at the column of Desire, and on it is written, "You are about to leave a familiar world wherein are stored all the things you ever wanted, and for which you struggled long and hard." The warrior smiles because nothing frightens him and nothing holds him. With the confidence of one who knows what he wants, he opens the door. So go ahead and close your eyes. Take a deep breath. And exhale. Take another deep breath. And exhale again. And another breath. And exhale. And just feel this breath moving through your body. Feel this breath going through all of your cells. Feel all of your chakras activated from the bottom of the spine up. Red at the bottom of the spine. Orange at the belly button. Yellow just below the rib cage in the solar plexus. Green at the heart. Blue at the throat, indigo at the third eye, and violet at the crown chakra. Just imagine all of this energy flowing through you. Let that energy expand outward to create this bubble of protection around you. And then just let that energy continue outward, filling the room, the neighborhood, the city, the state, the country, across the ocean, then across the entire world. And as we send those positive energies around the world that mix with all the others sending the positive energies, we know that the world is being changed. And that we are recognizing more and more that which is for us to see. So as we go through the world today, we go with eyes observing what is taking place. an awareness of the energy that flows through us, and an open mind to be able to experience what the world it has to show us today. So let the subconscious mind continue on that journey, and let's bring the conscious mind back to the present moment on the count of 3. 3 coming back to the present moment filled with confidence. 2 coming back to the present moment filled with faith. And 1 coming back to the present moment happy, healthy, and whole. Happy, healthy, and whole. Take another deep breath. Exhale, and open your eyes. That's it, my friends. We've made it through another show. One more to go for the rest of this week. Tomorrow is 9/11. Go back and watch the video on the psychology. See what that's about. We need to be able to move past the lies, and the only way we do is to know the truths so that we can share them with others. That's what we all need to do. If we do that, just think how awesome things are going to work out for all of us. That's it for today. I'll be back tomorrow. I love you. Keep loving each other. Peace. I'm out of here.